Welcome everyone to Beyond the Adventure. Today's episode is the Grinch search on Mount Crumpit, and let's get started. So beginning this episode out here, I did a little bit of a flashback to the previous episode. If you missed that one, I will throw the link up here or down below in the description. Anyways, this was the start of the third season of Adventure Wednesday. This episode that you're watching right now is actually the second episode of the third season. And for this season, I decided for the first 3 episodes, I would do a continuation on one another where I went up to one of the places that it is believed is the inspiration behind Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Anyways, just starting the episode out here with the little intro. It was absolutely freezing this day. Here I am showing you the map of how far of a walk it is to where my destination was for that day, which is the Eyrie House and the Eyrie House ruins, or I should say just the Eyrie House ruins. Anyways, this is also where Goat's Peak is located. I took you guys up there a couple of seasons ago. I will throw the link up here as well and down below in the description if you want to check it out. So anyways, heading up this road here, this was actually opened up until I was about 17 or so, and then they had closed this road down and never reopened it again. It was a nice little ride to go up there, though during the final years of it being open, the road was in really rough shape. I think the actual last time that I went up there was on a motorcycle, and it was a little sketchy with just the amount of potholes and just gravel and everything like that all over. Anyways, right there is the parking area, or where one of the parking areas was, and that would lead you up to where Goat's Peak is located and one of the fire watchtowers known as Bray Tower. Now, on last week's episode, I called the other tower that I was at Bray Tower, but it is not Bray Tower. I forget the actual name of it. And if you guys couldn't tell, Finnegan was joining me for today's episode here. Thought he should join in on this holiday adventure in season 3. So like I'm saying to you guys right here, it was believed that Dr. Seuss, Theodore Geisel was his actual name, had based his story of How the Grinch Stole Christmas about a hermit that lived on Mount Tom who went down into East Hampton, which East Hampton would be Whoville, Mount Tom would be Mount Crumpit, and the hermit would be the Grinch. Now, there's no actual cement, concrete evidence proving that this is the case. Nobody ever found anything from Dr. Seuss that said Mount Tom is Mount Crumpit, the Grinch was this hermit, or anything like that. But a lot of people locally believe that to be the case. That has kind of been passed on as local folklore over the past years. I don't even know how long has the Grinch Stole Christmas been out. Let me check that out. How Grinch Stole Christmas, I guess.
As close to a story that I think is accurate. This is what I've put together from the different versions that I've heard of it. But it goes a little something like this. There was a vagabond.
Right now they have another version of the movie out.
Living here on Mount Tom.
So let's see, it was a TV movie from 1966. The original publication date of the book, or the story, was October 12th, 1957. So this has been out for, what, 50 years would be 2007, so 61 years? I think my math is right on that. So yeah, How the Grinch Stole Christmas has been out for 61 years. Like I said, there's another animated version of the movie out. I have not seen that one. I am a big fan of the classic. Also, in case you guys didn't know, there is like a Halloween special of How the Grinch Stole Christmas as well. I would highly recommend checking it out. If I could find any pictures or anything like that from that series, I will throw them on the screen right now. Here is another parking area that you used to be able to pull off over onto, kind of like the other ones that you would see if you entered from the Christopher Clark Trail, I believe is the name of it, the entrance that you get into the park from on Route 141 up by the log cabin. I believe it's called Christopher Clark Road. So anyways, like I said, we're heading up to where the Eyrie House is. And the Eyrie House right here, it was owned and operated by William Street, and it opened in 1861. It included a picnic area, a croquet field, and masterful views of the winding Connecticut River and surrounding Mount Tom. The hotel was at its peak in the 1880s when it was patronized by several hundred travelers a day who came from far and wide with both scenic picnics and fine dining in the Eyrie House's elegant restaurant. Now going on to another page here.
Any caves up there?
Let's see, expanded in 1861 to 30 guest rooms with amenities. In 1901, a fire destroyed the complex. So here's just a couple of caves up there on the hill that I remember seeing hiking up here. Now, this is about a 2-mile or so walk from where you can park your car up into where the Eyrie House is. I believe I did have the drone with me that day. It was just way too windy to actually bring it up in the air. So, let's see. Competition with the nearby Prospect House atop Mount Holyoke and the nearby Mount Tom Summit House, both places that I've taken before. I will throw those links down below in the description. One is known as Skinner State Park now, and the other is the top of Mount Tom, where there's just a bunch of radio antennas. So, the Eyrie House burned to the ground on the night of April 13th, 1901. Alone on the mountain that evening, the owner, Street, had started a funeral fire for 2 deceased horses and actually ended up burning down the entire hotel. So before he knew it, the entire mountaintop was in flames, and when the blaze finally died down, only the cellar holes in the walls of the building's stone understory remained. The frugal Street was underinsured, that was the owner of the hotel, and left unable to reconstruct his old hotel or continue building his new one. He lived out the rest of his life as a recluse, and when the state of Massachusetts incorporated the Eyrie House ruins on the new Mount Tom Reservation, a $5,000 check was deposited into his bank account as a gesture of goodwill. However, he was matched only by his pride. He died having never touched the money. So here is a view of where the Oxbow is in the Connecticut River. Finn, you want to get down? Go ahead, you can get down. Yeah, you can just see from the clip right here how windy it is. All the birch trees and all the trees in the area just swaying back and forth. Now, I don't know how well you can see. I believe off in the distance you might be able to... No, you can't. I thought you could see UMass, but you cannot. That is overlooking East Hampton, Hadley, and Northampton are a little part of Northampton. Stop with the leaves. Alright, he's got a leaf. That's okay. So here was the final parking area that you were able to get to before you would have a short, maybe 5-minute walk to where the Eyrie House ruins are. That is downtown Whoville or downtown East Hampton. Those are all the mill buildings. There's actually a new pot shop that is opening up or has just opened up in that area because marijuana sales are legal in this state now, and they finally opened up shops after 2 years. So here we are walking up. There's a little bit of that history that I was reading to you right there.
The area that we're going. So on the 4th of July.
So they have like all the dates and everything. Now I haven't been up here in probably about a year or two, but that sign was still up there the last time I went. The original air date on this episode was December 14th, 2016.
By negligence and cremation of several horses.
So here I am just talking about how he was burning the deceased horses and caused the whole property to burn down.
Hotel, pavilion, and stable burned to the ground, leaving the area open for the possibility
you want to come up here? No? Okay.
Something like a Grinch to live here. Now,
looking around in a second, you will see the ruins of the building. Now, the ruins are absolutely massive. It's a very cool spot to walk around in. I would recommend going up here in the winter, though, or like very early spring, because every time I've gone up there, there's always been either a snake or snake skins all over the place. There are the ruins of it, very reminiscent of like a castle or something like that. I always got like a Lord of the Rings type of vibe going up here, or like an old Celtic castle type of vibe. There is the road. Now there was 2 paths that actually went up there. There was one that you should see me walk on later on in this episode that actually headed down, and that was the cart path for where the wagons and the horses and everything like that would come up. So here we are walking around the ruins. Now there's a couple of separate rooms down here. I believe there's just 2 that are still left physically standing, which were both basement parts of the house or basement parts of the hotel. There's that really cool center spot right there that's got a pretty thick archway that you could walk through.
I'm going to what used to be the basement.
So here I am. I think there's actually snakeskin that I saw from a snake on the wall. I always like this shot here. I used that in a couple of intros for Adventure Wednesday. After this, maybe there isn't snakeskin up there? No? I don't know. But yeah, this is like the longer tunnel I was talking about.
Passageway here.
But it is cool to go up there and look around and see the views through the cutouts for the windows that they had back in the day. There are, you can see kind of how the foundation would have been laid out on the rock that was already existing up there, and then how they gathered other rock from the area and constructed the walls and whatever that they needed. And considering this was built in the 1800s and it's still standing, they built it on top of a mountain, so they didn't really have the most advanced technology up there. They didn't have, you know, they didn't lug all these things up to the top of the mountain to build it. They pretty much built it by hand or with the power of a horse towing a trailer or a wagon. But I think I actually walk up on top of that in a second and give you guys another view. There was another archway where a window would have been. There's another archway where a window would have been. But it is a pretty big spot, and you know, like I said, to see it still standing there, it's still like that to this day, unless it's all been completely knocked over in the past couple of weeks, which I don't think it has. It's right here is that cart path I was talking about. You can see where they stacked all the stones up to create a wider area for them to traverse, and you'll actually see right there the retaining wall, or whatever you want to call it, the base of that.
The old Grinchy lived in here.
So here is just another shot. Now, what I just said right there was some people actually thought that the hermit lived up here in the ruins. Like I said, the story came out. When did I say Dr. Seuss's Christmas Grinch came out? I think I said like 1952 or something, and this place burned down in the early 1900s, 1901, I believe I said. So it's possible that he could have stayed up there. And you can see I have the hard shell backpack on with the drone, and it is extremely windy, so yeah, I don't remember that going up at all.
To make it habitable. It's very possible that he could have lived here, but for the time being, enjoy a time lapse.
So here I am, just setting up the camera with the time lapse. I also like this shot here. I don't know, it just, like I said, it reminds me of like Lord of the Rings, or you know, some medieval type of setup there. You know, just this nice little ruin set up on top of the hill. So here I am playing some Christmas music. Hopefully you guys are in the mood for the holiday season. I think this episode should be airing right around Christmas, so happy Christmas to you, Merry Christmas to you, happy holidays, whatever you guys celebrate. Here we are heading up behind the Eyrie House. There is actually a cell phone tower that is up there, or yeah, there was a cell phone tower, and there's actually also another one of those fire watchtowers that is up there. Now, here I am just taking a peek over the edge, and this right here, you'll see the area is fenced off. However, there's just like a bunch of gaps in the fence that anybody could walk right through, and I couldn't tell you if I've ever seen anybody up there. So here's a gap in the fence. I had to take the backpack off, and I walked right in there and went up the tower to show you guys around. Now, I had gone up this tower probably, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago or so. I was like 16 or 17 at the time. It was right around the time that they had actually closed that road up. I might have actually even taken my motorcycle up to the parking lot there and then hiked up and then went up the tower, but it looks as though nobody uses this at all. Except up on the top there's like this little wooden platform, and it almost looks as though people go up there to study like the birds, the migrating hawks, because this is a popular spot for migrating hawks, and peregrine falcons use the Mount Tom Quarry as a place to roost. So this, compared to the other towers that is in the area, is pretty steep. Like, you'll even see like the roof shot right there. Just, you know, it doesn't look like that many people are up here using this that often, so it is definitely deteriorating. I would enter at your own risk and climb at your own risk. I actually think I did leave the drone backpack on the ground there because there wasn't enough room to sneak myself.
I do vaguely recall finding one of these towers before.
Yeah, see, I'm just talking about, there was another one of these towers too that's buried somewhere in the woods that you can get up into. I can't remember where it is, but this I thought was a very cool view. Now, in the fall, I have always tried after this episode to see if I could spot where the tower was on the mountain, you know, driving down the road and all the leaves are off the trees, but I've never been able to see it. I figured you'd be able to get a glimpse of it from Route 5, but I was wrong. Finn!
Made it to the top.
All I hear is some rustling of some leaves. I think he is going after a plant or something. Have no fear though. We'll attract Finn in. Just like that. There you are, with a leaf. Oh, you got a leaf in your mouth.
Set the camera up for a time lapse up here.
So it was very shaky on the top of this platform too. I can't imagine if people actually do go up here to observe falcons or hawks or anything like that, they would have more than a few people up there at the same time. There's actually one point right there you see I grabbed the camera because the wind just kept knocking it over, even with the tripod on. That right there, all the cars are traveling, is 91 north and south, going through where the Oxbow is. So here I am, just heading down. You can't hear a single thing I'm saying because it is so windy and I didn't have a little cover for the microphone or anything. I think at this point in time I was actually climbing down and there was a helicopter that flew by. Was it this time? I think it was this time. There's a helicopter that flies by.
Look.
Yep, I was right.
It's a helicopter.
Let's see if I can do zoom in. Yeah, there it is. Looked like one of the state police helicopters, I believe. But there is an airfield over there, and there are 2 military bases nearby as well. So, actually, don't even know it. I haven't taken the drone up on that spot, and that is kind of close to where the Northampton airport is, so that might actually be a do not fly zone. Yeah, see, I hid the drone back there because I didn't feel like lugging it all the way to the top, but actually, I'm not too entirely sure. This area might be part of a no-fly zone because of the airport being there. I don't know, I just thought I'd ask and see if anybody was in there, even though I knew there wasn't. Now, I think up around here there are actually a couple of spots where you can see dinosaur footprints embedded in the rock.
Find out if this urban myth,
So here I am back down where the Eyrie House is.
It's getting to that point.
Preparing to do the little bit of the outro for this episode to lead you into the next one. And that is actually going to be taking place next week. Will be the final episode of the 3-part opening of Season 3 of Adventure Wednesday. And then the episodes will be at different locations scattered throughout the area.
This would have been a perfect area.
But here I am just talking a little bit more about the Grinch here, and him living up there, and how I could imagine this guy lugging up, old pieces of plywood or scraps, or even towing a shopping cart up there with junk in it, just making his own little hut. So here I am heading back to the truck. Now, there is another road here that used to be another entrance and exit point of the reservation. Is located right to the left of those rocks. You'll see the stripes on the guardrail that is blocking that area, or the gate that is blocking that area. So that road actually leads out and enters into East Hampton, where you don't have to go down the long mountain road that I had taken you guys on in the previous episode. But anyways, here, that is going to do it for today's episode. Thank you guys very much for watching it. If you enjoyed this video, let me know by giving it a thumbs up, and I will see everybody on Friday for Free for All Friday. Peace.